I just wanted to say a couple things. Today is primary day. How many elections do you know we're going to have here in Wilson County this year? One today, presidential. June 28th, another primary for East John. In September, a primary and a regular primary day for who knows what. You know, it could be these two gentlemen who just spoke. And we have a general election. You know, so we're going to be very busy as a Republican Party this year. And you know, sometimes you can wear you down. But the biggest thing that I can tell you right now that's going on is that there is a movement that's happening in our country, in the Republican Party. And I think it's exciting that we're witnessing that here tonight. We're going to witness it tonight later on when we watch television and see who's going to be the nominee. And we're going to witness it in July when the national convention takes place. So I couldn't find a more exciting time to be involved in politics than right now. And these guys are the ones that are going to make it even more exciting for us because we have that decision to make work. So with no further ado, they drew numbers and they're going to speak for 5 minutes each, introduce themselves, and then I'm going to come on in with questions. So that's our format, but really, it's never been a better time to be involved in politics than right now, because no matter what you're looking at, we're going to have some drama, we're going to have some excitement. So we're going to start with Mr. Faso, who drew first, and he'll do his presentation, and I'll keep my mouth shut until it's time for the questions. Thank you.
Well, Roger, thank you very much, and Mike and Franco and Dean, thank you for coordinating this and bringing the committees together, and thank you to my fellow candidates for being here as well. We have a small, but we have a hearty group here. So these are people that are truly committed to our country, to our community, and to our party. So I appreciate your coming here tonight. Many of you have heard me previously and the other candidates. Certainly, if you attended the Ulster County GOP convention, you were privy to much of what has been said. We have a very critical choice in this district and in this country. I believe I'm the best choice of the Republican Party in this congressional district for Congress. I am the endorsed Republican candidate throughout the 11 counties. Endorsed conservative, independents, and Reform Party candidate as well. Last week I submitted approximately 8,000 signatures, more than double what the other Republican candidates submitted, and more than double what the 2 Democratic candidates submitted for their candidacy for office. And that included about 5,400 Republicans, almost 1,800 Independents Party signatures, 900 Conservative Party, and 9 Reform Party signatures. I believe, and you will find out as we go forward, that this will be one of the 10 most contested congressional races in the nation this year, right here in the 19th. I'm running because America is in crisis. America, frankly, is going over the cliff financially and in so many other ways. Our Second Amendment rights are under attack. I'm proud to say that I have a lifetime A rating from the National Rifle Association, and I've always strongly supported their agenda. But also our First Amendment rights are under attack, our religious liberty is under attack, and we are faced with almost a totalitarian impulse on the left, where if you don't agree with them, they say they're for diversity of opinion and they're for tolerance. But if you don't agree, they will shout you down on a college campus and not even permit you to speak. So those are the things, that's what's happening, that's what troubles me about the direction of our country today. Holding this House seat is going to be critically important to maintaining the majority in the House of Representatives. And I have offered a set of policies and an agenda that I think responds to what the needs of the people are in the state. I've offered a plan on dealing with economic growth, which is our job one, proposals relating to national security, proposals dealing with defeating the heroin crisis that is affecting our communities all throughout upstate New York. And just last week, I released a plan, first time anyone ever did this, that directly attacks a 50-year mistake which Governor Rockefeller made and imposed upon the people of the state. Namely, when the Medicaid system was adopted in Washington in 1965, it was a federal state program, 50% federal, 50% state. New York, virtually alone among the states, imposed half of its share on the counties and the city of New York. And what this has meant through the last 50 years is that here in Ulster County, about 45% of every nickel the county raises in property tax goes to pay for Medicaid. In Dutchess County, 39% of every nickel they raise goes to pay for property tax, goes to pay for Medicaid. Across the 19th Congressional District, the average of the 11 counties, 42% of what is raised by the real property tax, by county property taxpayers, goes to pay for Medicaid, which in virtually every other state is paid by the state. What does this mean, relatively speaking? It means that New York counties and the city pay $7.2 billion annually in Medicaid costs. You know how much the entire local government cost is in contribution for Medicaid? In the entire United States, it's $9 billion. Our counties are paying, and the city of New York are paying $7 billion of it. If you add up every nickel they spend on Medicaid in all the local governments around America, it doesn't even come close to what we're doing. And what do we know? People are being driven out of their homes. I run into people all the time who say to me, a guy in Ulster County recently said, I pay $7,000. He said, I'm going to come vote for you this year. But next year, the next election, we're not here. We are going to Tennessee. We have a bigger house there, and we pay not $7,000 in taxes, we pay $900 a year. A big part of this reason why people are beating the path to the exits in New York State is because of the property tax. And that's what's happening. So I've offered the very first plan that actually addresses this. It's very simple. Over a 5-year period, we amend the federal law to say no longer shall a state be able to mandate part of its Medicaid responsibility on the local governments in its state. Give the state 5 years to accommodate it. What's happened now? This is the kind of the moral equivalent of someone saying, I want a $500 lease for a new Mercedes, and I know I can afford it because I'm going to make Roger Rasco pay $200 of it every month, because it's only going to really cost me $300. Roger's going to pick up the other $200. That's just what New York has done for 50 years. It's about time, folks, we thought of had new thinking, and we fix problems. So the very first thing out of the box, if I'm elected, I'm going to propose in Congress that we fix New York and Nelson Rockefeller's 50-year mistake, because the people of this state are being driven out of their homes, and it affects business property taxpayers, it affects individual property taxpayers, and it's about time we did something about it. And I'm proud to say I'm offering the first plan to actually fix it, to force Albany to do what they should have done right from the get-go. So I have a lot of ideas and plans about what we need to do to fix the direction of our country and our state, and I'll be pleased tonight to talk to you about many more of these. Thank you so much.
My water, I've got 3 here, I'll bring it up. Thank you all for being here tonight. I'm Andrew Heaney, and you know, this is really exciting to be here. In a way, it's primary day. This is going to be an historic day, I think, in New York politics. This is going to be an historic election. And, you know, I have to tell you that it really has been, I just want to say it's been an honor to be a part of this process. It really has. There are a lot of people in this room that I've gotten to know, very good friends in this room, very dear friends that I've made. And one of them, in fact, is here right now. I want to recognize him. I'm going to embarrass him. But Albert Ames is here tonight. And Albert, I haven't seen you in a while, but he just got through he got through basic training in the Army. And I think now, right now, you're in officers training school.
Just commissioned, sir.
You've just been commissioned. So can we give him a round of applause?
All right.
We're proud of you. Thank you for being here tonight. And I have to tell you, I think that this is one of the finest young men in the 19th district. He's a good man. Thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you for your service.
Yes, thank you for your service. And, beyond that, this process has brought me all around this district. This is a huge district, 11 counties, 7,400 square miles, an incredibly diverse number of communities. And in this kind of a race, this is a very up-close and personal race. You have to talk to people. You have to knock on their doors. You have to pick up the phone. You have to call them. John told a story about meeting that gentleman in Ulster County. I've been fortunate enough to walk into the homes of hundreds of people in the 19th district and to talk to them about what's happening in their lives. And I have to tell you, these are really wonderful people. I think my fellow candidates can attest to this. The dignity and the grace and the kindness of the people in the 19th district. And they will tell you what they think. And what they want to know about you as a candidate, the first thing they want to know is why. They want to know, why are you in this thing? And I've got to tell you, the reason I'm in this thing is because of my children. I am a dad. I have 3 young kids. I have a 10-year-old girl. I have a 6-year-old boy. I have a 4-year-old boy. And when I look into their future, and I think about what they're going to face when I look at the debt, $19 trillion, when I look at our national security situation, when I look at our economy, I don't like what I see. I think every single person in this room probably agrees with me. And it's not fair. And I don't come from a political background. This is my first race. I've never run. I come from a small business background. I'm a small business owner my whole life. I come from a small business family. My entry into that small business came through tragedy. My father got lung cancer. He died when I was at a very young age. I was 22. I was forced to take over a division of that family business. And I grew that business over time. That's my life. That's what I've done. The Heaney business. And today, the propane business. That's what I know. I don't know politics. So I've been learning. But the reason I think we find ourselves in this situation today, and I can tell you right now, the people of the 19th district agree, is that they believe that their government is no longer theirs. They don't believe in our system. And it has caused them to lose faith in the American dream. When I talk to people, they do not believe the American dream is real for them. They don't believe it's real for their children. And I fundamentally believe that that is because we have a cadre, we have an army of professional politicians that are running our government today. We need to get back to citizen representation. We need to get back to basics. We need to talk about reform. We need people who are going to talk about reform and people who are going to live that reform. And that's what I plan to do. That's what I'm doing all over this district. I can tell you, when I went into this race for the first time, I came all full of ideas, all full of issues I thought were the most important issues. But you know what? There's one issue that stands above all else, and that's reform. That is restoring the faith of the American people. They lost it. We need to bring it back. If our next congressman does one thing, that's what he needs to do. So how do you do it? You have to talk about term limits. We have term limits for the president, thank goodness. We need term limits for Congress. We need them. A lot of people say, oh, that's impossible, you can't do it. We need to fight for them. We need to stand up for it. And if we can't get them right away, then we have to be the ones who enforce it upon ourselves. One of the first things I ever did in this race was announce that I was going to term limit myself to no more than 6 years. 6 years. A lot of people push back. That's not enough time. You're not going to be able to accomplish anything. It's plenty of time. It's plenty of time. And what's more important is that we tell the American people and show the people of the 19th district that this person running for Congress is not interested in this becoming his next career. This next congressman is not interested in gold-plated benefits that Congress creates for itself while the rest of the American people get nothing. Look at the medical that they give themselves in Congress. They write Obamacare. The next day they write a waiver for themselves. The medical plan for Congress is a lot better than the one that you can get or I can get on our own. Here's what's even worse. The medical plan for Congress is better than the one we give to our veterans. It's better than the one that Albert gets. How about that? So I'm not accepting that. I'm not taking that medical plan. Congress also gives itself economic security. 5 years of work, if you're the right age, 5 years, you get a full pension for the rest of your life. Pretty darn close to $100,000 tax-free. How about that? Good deal, right? You're shaking your head. Over the age of 62. Over the age of 62. I said if you're the right age. Over the age of 62. Which many of the people here are. $100,000 tax-free. That's a pretty good deal after 5 years of work. I'm not going to participate in that pension. Why? To demonstrate to the people that I'm not taking that. I'm not interested in those perks and those benefits and being treated differently. Reform. Reform. Lobbying. The culture of lobbying. The people are disgusted with the culture of lobbying in Washington. 70% of congressmen, after they leave Congress, they become lobbyists. There are more lobbyists in Washington who are former members of Congress than there are current members of Congress. It should be illegal. It's gumming up the system. It's destroying people's faith in the system. Reform. Reform. It's the number one issue that we face. I'll be talking about veterans. I've met hundreds and hundreds of veterans in this district. They're the finest among us. There are many of them here tonight. They have been abandoned by this administration. They have been abandoned by this Congress. It's a national disgrace. A national disgrace. Our campaign is going to release a plan tomorrow that is going to be all about reforming the system of care for veterans. The economy. All roads lead back to the economy. Whether you're talking about education, national security, any issue, we have to grow this economy again. We do not have a growing economy today. You could try to pin the blame on the president, Obama. He certainly deserves a lot of blame for it. There's been an awful economy under him. But you can also blame the Republicans. You can also blame them too, because they had not articulated an economic strategy for this country. And even worse than that, they passed bills like the omnibus bill this year, where they basically gave away a whole bunch of goodies to the Democrats and all the Republicans. And they raised our debt by $700 billion in a single month. That's what's wrong. The people know it. We need to grow our economy. And I know as a small business owner that it's getting back to basics. It's getting back to making it possible for small business owners to be optimistic, to want to invest, to want to grow, to want to hire. That is what is going to restore our economy, not just here in the 19th District, but all across this country. I know how to do that. I've been there. I've made a payroll. I've hired people. I get it. I know what they need. That's what we need to do. Restore the people's faith. Stand up for our veterans. Grow our economy. That is what I'm going to be talking about again and again and again all across the 19th District. Thank you.
Yes, and thank the committees and all of you for being here. My name is Bob Bishop. I'm a lifelong resident of this district. I have 7 grandchildren, and the reason I'm running is I think we're the first generation that's going to turn over to our grandchildren a country that wasn't as good as the one we inherited. And that scares me. I don't want to be negative. I think there's a lot out there to be positive about. We were brought up with the promise of global security and the promise of affluence. And that's changed. And I'm going to Washington to make sure that we can change it back. As you'll notice, I'm not the orator that Andrew is. I don't benefit from education at Exeter and Yale and Harvard. My family couldn't afford $50,000 tuition to send me to Exeter. But I'm a small business owner. I started out farming. I milked cows through high school. I then got a job at a radio station because I won an FFA speaking contest. Then I went on as a magazine editor for Holstein World, which is a farm magazine. In 1984, my wife Joyce and I purchased our family's trucking and farm commodities business. We ran that for 18 years, and we were successful at it. I've signed both the front and the back of the paycheck. I've gone without my paycheck, so the employees got paid. So I know what you live like, because I'm one of you. I have the same life experiences that people in this room have. I know what it's like to struggle under an dysfunctional government. And I know that it can be changed. I've worked within the bureaucracy as part of my job as general manager of Larson Farms. My American dream has far exceeded any promise that I thought I had when I was young. I'm the general manager of, as Andrew likes to call it, a multinational corporation. Actually, it's a family farm in Idaho, who we ship hay overseas. We also have some feed stores in Florida. So I know what it's like to run a business. And I know what it's like to try to run a business when the regulations make it nearly impossible. And that's why I want to go to Washington. I'm going to go to Washington to find out what you need to do in your lives. Then my job is going to be to find a way for you to do that with the least amount of government interference. I'm going to be constituent-based. I'm going to be back in the district. I'm going to be talking to you. I'm going to be listening to you. And I'm going to go back to Washington and work as hard as I can to make your lives better and to make you be able to do what you want without the government interference. So that's my background. I'm not a career politician. I've been on the town board for 8 years. I was on the school board for 4 years. But when I got into this race, I came into it saying that we've got enough career politicians. We've got enough Wall Street insiders. We don't need people to move into this district and try to buy a seat. I mean, Sean Helfrich would be our congressman at that point. And so we went out, we worked hard. We got 50% more signatures on our petitions than we needed. I walked 9 miles one day knocking on doors, and some of the people in this room, thank you for helping us sign the petitions. We discovered this morning that 3 people have filed against our petitions. I don't know. I was so upset. If you'll just pardon me, I'm so mad that I had to write this down so I don't lose it. I said, the voters are turning out by the thousands tonight because they're so disgusted at the kinds of tactics pushed by establishment candidates like Andrew Heaney. For years, insiders have tried these tricks to rig the system and deny voters the right to pick their own candidate. Our campaign attracted volunteers from all corners of the district to help a true outsider get on the ballot and get the votes that the real people could make a choice in June. And that scares my opposition. It's wrong, and I'm going to stop it tonight. Both my opponents know the threat that I pose, because I'm a true outsider who will represent the people's interest rather than the political establishment. And nothing scares them more, nothing scares those political hacks more than a regular guy that the parties can't control. Now, John, I appreciate that you did not challenge my petitions. And so will you join me in denouncing Mr. Heaney's effort to deny the Republican voters the chance in this district to pick their own candidate? And Mr. Heaney, will you disavow the attempts to knock me off the ballot and pledge here today to end your campaign's challenge and let the voters decide?
Is that a question?
Yes, it is.
Well, since this is a very high drama, my understanding is that there is a process